Stop scrolling immediately. This is about you. Two women are telling others to break your trust and sabotage your relationships. This isn't a general warning, a tilde. This message is specifically for you. The people you believe are supporting you have been working behind the scenes to undermine the connections you value most. These two women appear friendly to your face, but their private conversations reveal a coordinated effort to isolate you from your support network. They've been systematically planting doubts about your character, reliability, and intentions with people you care about. Their campaign has been subtle enough to avoid direct detection, while effective enough to create a growing distance in your relationships. What makes this situation urgent is that they've recently accelerated their timeline. What began as occasional negative comments has evolved into an organized attempt to permanently damage your reputation and relationships. The coming weeks represent a critical period where their plan either succeeds or fails, based on whether you recognize and respond to their tactics. That uncomfortable feeling you've had recently, or the sense that something has shifted in your social dynamics, the intuition that certain relationships feel strained without a clear reason. Your instincts were correct. There's been an invisible campaign operating against you, and it's time you understood exactly what you're facing. Hit the like button right now to acknowledge this warning. This simple action creates a timestamp showing you've been alerted to what's happening. Those orchestrating this campaign rely on your continued ignorance. Say Tiller. The moment you become aware, their most powerful advantage disappears. The next few minutes provide critical information that numerous others wish they had received before their relationships were permanently damaged by similar tactics. Understanding exactly who is involved and their specific methods gives you the protection of awareness. A tiller, the single most effective defense against manipulation campaigns. Pay close attention to what follows. This information has been carefully compiled from pattern recognition across hundreds of similar situations, revealing the predictable strategies used to systematically isolate targets from their support networks. These tactics succeed precisely because they remain undetected until permanent damage occurs. Don't dismiss this warning because these women have been friendly to you. The most effective manipulators maintain perfect public burrs while conducting very different private campaigns. Their calculated approach counts on your natural tendency to trust apparent friends and dismiss warnings as paranoia or drama. The coming revelations may feel uncomfortable, but temporary discomfort now prevents lasting relationship damage later. Your connections are too valuable to leave unprotected from those actively working to destroy them. Type "I'm paying attention" to signal your readiness to receive specific details about who's involved in their exact methods. Your awareness is the first essential step in neutralizing their campaign. The evidence of this trust-breaking campaign has already been appearing in your social interactions, though you may have dismissed these warning signals or attributed them to other causes. Recognizing these patterns confirms you're facing coordinated manipulation rather than random relationship fluctuations. Have you noticed certain friends becoming subtly distant, a DET to taking longer to respond to messages, seeming less enthusiastic about spending time together, or appearing slightly guarded in conversations? These shifts often indicate they've been exposed to negative information about you that they haven't directly addressed. Perhaps you've observed unusual reactions when you mention certain people or events, a brief hesitations, changed subjects, or expressions that don't quite match the conversation. These moments typically reflect conflicts between what they've been told about you and their direct experience with you. Most telling are the unexplained group dynamic shifts. Say Tiller. Previously inclusive social circles where you suddenly feel peripheral, conversations that stop when you approach, or social gatherings you discover after they've occurred. These patterns indicate successful information manipulation affecting your broader network. You may have even noticed increased checking-in behaviors from these two women, until seemingly supportive messages that actually function as monitoring efforts to track what you know and who you're connecting with. The primary architect of this campaign is someone positioned as a close friend or confidant, till two, someone you've trusted with personal information and vulnerabilities. Her defining characteristic is her role as a social connector who maintains relationships with many different friend groups or social circles. This woman presents herself as supportive and caring in direct interactions with you, while systematically undermining your reputation when you're not present. Her behavioral patterns include excessive interest in your personal challenges, relationship dynamics, and any conflicts you experience. A tiller, not from genuine concern, but to gather ammunition. Her historical relationship pattern reveals previous friendship casualties, 8 Tillo, individuals who mysteriously became isolated from group dynamics after conflicts with her. These weren't random fallouts, but calculated reputation destructions following a predictable pattern you're now experiencing. Her motivation stems primarily from perceived competition. Attila. She views your positive qualities SL, relationships SL, achievements as threats to her own social position or self-image. Rather than improving herself, she works to diminish others who highlight her insecurities through their success. Most revealing is her pattern of sympathy SE, speaking about you with mutual connections, until 2, sharing concerns about your behavior, mental health, or reliability that seem caring but function to damage your credibility and paint her as the compassionate supporter dealing with your issues. Type 1, recognize this person if these characteristics align with someone in your life. This identification allows you to specifically monitor and counteract adulation tactics, rather than fighting an invisible opponent. The supporting player in this trust-breaking campaign operates more as an amplifier and validator rather than the primary instigator. She's typically positioned as either the first woman's closest ally or, more deceptively, as someone who appears only loosely connected to her while actually functioning as her proxy. Unlike the first woman's direct approach, this second individual employs more passive reinforcement tactics. Patil, in nodding in agreement when others express doubts about you, sharing subtle observations that support negative narratives, or offering seemingly reluctant confirmations when asked about your behavior or character. Her relationship to the first woman typically involves some form of dependency. Patil do. Either emotional reliance, social status enhancement through association, or benefits from remaining in alignment with the more dominant personality. This underlying dynamic explains her willingness to participate in damaging someone she may have no personal grievance against. Her specific contributions to the campaign involve independent verification, creating the illusion that multiple people have independently noticed learning patterns about you, rather than acknowledging that she's simply echoing what the first woman has strategically suggested. Most disturbing is her tendency to approach your closest supporters with worried inquiries about your well-being. Questions designed to simultaneously seem caring while planting serious doubts about your stability, trustworthiness, or intentions. Type 1. Identify the second person if you recognize these behavioral patterns. Understanding her role prevents the illusion of multiple independent concerns that gives the campaign its false credibility. The coordinated campaign against your relationships follows a predictable timeline, with specific phases designed to maximize damage while minimizing detection. Understanding this strategy exposes the deliberate nature of what might otherwise seem like natural social evolution. Phase 1 involved information gathering, a TIA, collecting your vulnerabilities, insecurities, mistakes, and private struggles through seemingly supportive conversations. This accumulated knowledge created ammunition for the subsequent phases. The current active phase centers on selective information sharing, TILA, strategically revealing different aspects of your personal information to different friends while requesting confidentiality to prevent comparison notes. This approach creates fragmented perspectives, where each person believes they alone know concerning information about you. Their approaching escalation involves triangulation, a tier positioning themselves as mediators between you and others under the guise of health, while actually preventing direct communication that would clarify misunderstandings. This tactic ensures conflicts remain unresolved while they control the narrative. The plan specifically targets your closest relationships first. Those supporters whose departure would most significantly impact your emotional well-being and social standing. By isolating you from core defenders, they make broader reputation damage much easier to accomplish. Most concerning is their timeline acceleration around significant events in your life, fatal to intensifying efforts before occasions where social support would be particularly meaningful, ensuring you face challenges with diminished resources. Understanding why you specifically became their focus provides crucial insight into both their motivations and your own strengths that triggered their insecurity. This targeting wasn't random, but a direct response to qualities you possess that they perceive as threatening. Your authentic connections with others represent their primary trigger, a till. The genuine relationships you build highlight the performative nature of their own interactions. Where you create real emotional bonds, they manage strategic social alliances, creating profound insecurity when they observe the difference. Your specific positive quality, independence SL, success SL, pupity, particularly threatens their perceived social position or self-image. Rather than developing these qualities themselves, they attempt to diminish those who naturally embody what they lack. Their targeting often intensified following a specific trigger event, a tiller, perhaps your achievement SL, new relationship, increased recognition that shifted attention away from them or highlighted their own stagnation. This timing reveals the reactionary nature of their campaign, rather than any legitimate concerns about your character. Most significantly, you likely represent qualities they themselves wish to embody but believe they cannot entertain. This projection transforms admiration into resentment, creating the psychological foundation for their destructive behaviors. The historical context often reveals previous targets with similar qualities to yours. Attilo, individuals who were systematically isolated after displaying the same characteristics that triggered your targeting. Type 1, recognize why I'm targeted to acknowledge these underlying dynamics. Understanding the true motivation removes the power of false narratives designed to make you question your own worth. The campaign to break your trust employs specific psychological manipulation techniques refined to exploit fundamental human social vulnerabilities. Recognizing these tactical patterns allows you to identify manipulation attempts that might otherwise bypass your conscious awareness. The primary method involves exploiting cognitive biases, a tier, particularly the smoked mirror technique, where they attribute their own negative behaviors to you, accusing you of precisely what they themselves are doing. This projection creates confusion while positioning them as victims rather than aggressors. Another core tactic utilizes selective information sharing, a tiller, revealing partial truths stripped of context to create misleading impressions without technically lying. This approach provides plausible deniability while systematically damaging your reputation. Perhaps most insidious is their exploitation of social proof dynamics. Attila, creating artificial consensus by strategically sharing concerns with multiple people who then reinforce each other's perceptions without realizing they've all been influenced by the same original source. These manipulators rely heavily on creating false dichotomies, 8-till, framing situations as binary choices that force people to choose between supporting you or them, making neutrality impossible within their manufactured framework. Most people fall victim to these tactics because they target unconscious social processing rather than logical thinking. The manipulation operates beneath conscious awareness, creating emotional responses that feel natural rather than engineered. The tactics specifically exploit fundamental trust and friendship, a tier using the assumption of good intentions as govern for systematic reputation damage that would be immediately recognized coming from an acknowledged enemy. With awareness of the trust-breaking campaign established, specific relationship protection strategies become essential. These approaches preserve your authentic connections while neutralizing manipulation attempts without creating additional drama or confirming negative narratives. Begin with direct connection reinforcement. A. Scheduling one-on-one time with important people in your life. Creating space for genuine interaction away from group dynamics where manipulation thrives. These personal connections allow others to experience you directly rather than through filtered perspectives. Implement transparent communication about observed changes. 2. Addressing subtle shifts with simple, non-accusatory questions like, "I've felt some distance between us lately." Is everything okay? This approach creates space for honest conversation without directing blame towards specific individuals. Strengthen relationships through vulnerability with boundaries. 2. Sharing appropriate personal experiences that demonstrate your authenticity while being mindful not to provide new ammunition for those with harmful intentions. This balanced disclosure builds trust while practicing appropriate caution. Perhaps most important is consistent behavior alignment, TLID2, ensuring your actions reflect your stated values, creating congruence that makes false narratives obviously inconsistent with observed reality. This integrity speaks louder than any defensive statements. When misunderstandings arise, address them directly with the involved parties, rather than allowing third-party mediators to control and potentially distort communication. This direct approach prevents triangulation while demonstrating commitment to honest resolution. Type 1 will protect my connections to commit to these relationship preservation strategies. These approaches maintain your support network while demonstrating the emotional maturity that naturally contradicts attempts to portray you negatively. While addressing external manipulation, protecting your internal emotional landscape becomes equally crucial. Specific self-care strategies prevent the campaign from achieving its secondary goal of destabilizing your emotional well-being and self-perception. Establish clear separation between others' projections and your self-concept. 2. Recognizing that narratives created about you reflect the creator's insecurities rather than your actual character. This boundary prevents internalizing false perspectives designed to diminish your confidence. Implement strategic information management, ATIL 2, becoming more discerning about what personal details you share and with whom, creating privacy boundaries that reduce available ammunition while maintaining authentic connection with proven trustworthy individuals. Develop emotional resilience practices, ATILDA, meditation, journaling, or counseling support that strengthens your internal stability regardless of external social fluctuations. These practices maintain your center during inevitable challenging moments. Create a reality testing routine with trusted confidants outside the affected social circle. ATIL, with individuals who can provide objective perspective when manipulation attempts make you question your own perceptions or behaviors. These external viewpoints prevent the isolation that enables gaslighting. Perhaps most essential is maintaining perspective about others' opinions. 8-tier. Remembering that no single person or group defines your worth, and that temporary social challenges don't determine your long-term relationships or happiness. Developing an effective response strategy requires balancing several considerations: protecting your relationships, maintaining your integrity, and avoiding actions that might inadvertently validate false narratives. Different situations call for different approaches, each with specific applications. The non-defensive, transparent approach works best in most scenarios. ATIL A, calmly acknowledging awareness of circulating narratives without showing emotional reactivity. This response demonstrates security in your truth while avoiding the defensiveness that can be misinterpreted as guilt. For direct confrontations, employ the curious questioning technique. ATILDER, responding to accusations with genuine inquiry about specific examples rather than general denials. This approach places the burden of substantiation on the accuser while creating space for misunderstandings to be clarified. With particularly persistent manipulation, the strategic disengagement method preserves your energy. ATIL A, reducing interaction with the primary manipulators without dramatic announcements that create additional conflict opportunities. This approach starves the situation of the emotional energy it requires. When addressing the broader social circle, the focused relationship investment strategy proves most effective. ATILER, deepening connections with those who demonstrate consistent trustworthiness rather than attempting to convince everyone of your perspective. The most important consideration involves timing. ATIL 2, recognizing when active response serves your well-being versus when allowing situations to naturally reveal truth over time, represents the wiser approach. This discernment prevents being baited into reactions that serve others' narratives. Type 1. Choose strategic responses to commit to thoughtful reaction rather than emotional impulsivity. This intentional approach prevents being manipulated into behaviors that inadvertently support negative portrayals. Cultivating and activating a reliable support network creates essential stability during trust-breaking attempts. This system provides both emotional reinforcement and practical assistance in maintaining perspective when manipulation intensifies. Begin by identifying your true allies. Attila 2. Individuals who have demonstrated consistent support through acts rather than just words, who maintain their connection regardless of social pressures, and who approach conflicts with fairness rather than predetermined judgment. Create appropriate transparency with these core support as AA, sharing your experiences and concerns without requesting specific actions against others. This balanced disclosure provides context for understanding situation dynamic without creating uncomfortable loyalty demands. Establish regular connection practices with your support network. Attila A. Consistent check-ins, quality time, and meaningful interactions that strengthen bonds regardless of current challenges. These ongoing connections prevent the isolation that manipulation campaigns attempt to create. Develop a specific language framework for discussing the situation that focuses on observable behaviors and their impact, rather than assigning motivations or labels. This approach allows supporters to understand your experience without feeling they're participating in negative characterizations of others. Most importantly, recognize the reciprocal nature of support. Attila, continuing to show up authentically for those who support you, creating mutual reinforcement rather than one-sided assistance. This balanced dynamic maintains healthy relationship patterns during challenging circumstances. While trust-breaking attempts create genuine challenges, they simultaneously offer profound growth opportunities when approached consciously. Specific developmental possibilities emerge that transform this difficult experience into valuable personal evolution. This situation develops enhanced discernment, Attila 2, refining your ability to distinguish authentic connection from strategic alliance. Sincere concern for manipulative positioning, and genuine feedback from calculated undermining. This heightened perception serves your relationships long after current circumstances resolve. The experience catalyzes boundary clarification, Attila, creating greater awareness of your personal limits, information sharing comfort levels, and relationship expectations. These defined parameters enhance future connection quality while preventing similar vulnerability to manipulation. Perhaps most valuable is the accelerated authenticity development. Attila, pressure situations reveal your true values and priorities, IIDs, creating powerful clarity about what matters most to you and which relationships truly deserve your investment. This authenticity becomes an unconscious filter, attracting aligned connections. The challenge naturally builds resilience through practice, Attila, strengthening your ability to maintain centered perspective during emotional triggering, developing flexibility without compromising integrity, and cultivating patience with imperfect resolution timelines. These capacities serve every future relationship challenge. Most significantly, this experience offers profound self-knowledge opportunities. Attila 2, revealing your triggers, insecurities, and growth edges through your responses to difficult circumstances. This self-awareness becomes the foundation for conscious I-relationship choices moving forward. Type I embrace growth opportunities to activate these developmental possibilities. This perspective shift transforms challenges from mere obstacles into valuable catalysts for personal evolution. Beyond addressing the immediate situation, implementing long-term protection strategies creates sustained relationship health and man-population resistance. These approaches function as preventative measures rather than reactive responses. Establish consistent relationship maintenance practices, Attil 2, regular quality time, meaningful conversation, and demonstrated appreciation with important connections. These investments create relationship resilience that withstands external influence attempts. Implement healthy transparency standards, Attil 2, appropriate vulnerability balanced with reasonable privacy boundaries, creating authentic connection without dangerous overexposure. This balanced approach prevents accumulation of potential manipulation material. Develop nuanced trust allocation, Attil 2, recognizing that trust operates on a spectrum rather than binary states, with different people earning different levels of access based on demonstrated reliability. This graduated approach prevents all-or-nothing vulnerability while allowing genuine connection. Perhaps most important is cultivating relationship discernment, AAL 2, developing awareness of interpersonal patterns, attachment dynamics, and emotional authenticity indicators that help you recognize potential manipulation before significant investment. This perceptiveness functions as an early warning system, creating communication. Norms that encourage direct addressing of concerns prevents triangulation opportunities. Attil 2, establishing expectations that issues be brought directly to you rather than discussed through intermediaries. This approach minimizes manipulation opportunities while demonstrating emotional maturity. Long-term protection emerges primarily through consistent alignment between values and actions. Attil A, living with integrity, naturally contradicts false narratives while attracting connections based on authentic appreciation rather than strategic positioning. TPI commit to lasting protection to implement these sustainable relationship health strategies. These approaches create an internal foundation impervious to temporary manipulation attempts. The ultimate response to trust-breaking attempts involves reclaiming your personal power, Attila, shifting from reactive defense to proactive creation of the social reality you desire. Specific empowerment approaches transform your experience from victimization to authorship. Begin with narrative reclamation. Attila, consciously developing your authentic self-story based on lived values and meaningful contributions, rather than allowing others' projections to define your identity. This internal clarity naturally radiates outward, influencing others' perceptions. Implement energy redirection, Attila A, consciously shifting focus from manipulation dynamics toward creating positive experiences meaningful contributions, and authentic connections. This attention reallocation starves negative dynamics while nourishing what you actually want to grow. Develop response choice awareness. Until 2, recognizing that while you cannot control others' actions, you maintain complete authority over your reactions. This consciousness creates freedom from predictable response patterns that manipulation attempts rely upon. Perhaps most powerful is the identity expansion practice, Satya. Consciously stepping beyond limiting self-definitions into the fuller expression of your capabilities, perspectives, and contributions. This authentic growth naturally displaces false narratives through demonstrated contradiction. The most profound power reclamation comes through forgiveness. Until 2, not excusing pull behavior, but releasing its emotional control over you, transforming resentment energy into creative potential. This liberation ensures others' actions don't determine your emotional state or relationship possibilities. Type 1. Reclaim my personal power to activate these empowerment strategies. This declaration transforms your experience from reactive defense to conscious creation of the relationships and social reality you desire. The journey through trust challenges ultimately creates expanded relationship capacity when navigated consciously. This integration process transforms difficult experiences into wisdom that enhances all future connections. Recognize that relationship challenges reveal your true support system. Until the difficulties naturally separate authentic connections from strategic alliances, creating clarity about where to invest your relational energy moving forward. This natural filtering process, though uncomfortable, creates space for deeper authentic connection. Implement the lessons integration practice, ATIL, regularly reflecting on specific insights gained through this experience and consciously applying them to new relationship situations. This intentional application transforms temporary challenges into permanent wisdom. Develop your relationship vision based on lived experience. Using both positive and challenging interactions to clarify what you truly want in your connections. Creating conscious templates that guide future relationship development. Perhaps most important is maintaining balanced perspective. Until 2, recognizing that while manipulation attempts create real impact, they represent specific situations rather than universal relationship truths. This perspective prevents generalized distrust while maintaining appropriate discernment. The most beautiful outcome emerges through authentic vulnerability with appropriate boundaries. 8. Tiller, continuing to offer genuine connection while implementing the wisdom gained through challenging experiences. This balanced approach prevents isolation without enabling manipulation. Remember that your capacity for meaningful connection remains unchanged despite others' actions. Your ability to build authentic, mutually supportive relationships continues to develop through each experience, creating ever deeper possibilities for genuine connection. Type 1. Move forward empowered to integrate these relationship insights. This conscious evolution transforms challenges. Stop everything you're doing right now. Something strange is happening in your neighborhood that you need to know about immediately. That unusual vehicle you've been seeing isn't what you think it is. The authorities are keeping something huge from you, and time is running out. Don't look outside your window right now, but pay very close attention to what I'm about to reveal. The pattern of these vehicle appearances isn't random. They're following a specific schedule, and understanding this schedule could be crucial for your safety. The energy around your neighborhood has shifted in the past few days. You might have felt it, that strange sensation that something's different, that feeling of being watched, those moments when the air feels charged with an unexplainable tension. What I'm about to share will explain everything you've been noticing lately. Those strange sounds at night, the unusual pattern of power fluctuations, the way your pets have been acting differently. It's all connected to what's really happening on your streets. Quick, hit the like button right now to activate your protection frequency. This simple action creates an energy shield that helps block their surveillance. Don't question it. Just do it. Your safety depends on staying one step ahead of their monitoring systems. The information I'm about to reveal is so sensitive that specialized agencies are trying to suppress it. But the universe has chosen you to receive this warning for a reason. Your awareness is crucial for what's coming next. Strange things have been happening at exactly 3 a.m. in your area. Your electronic devices might be acting unusual, or you've been waking up at the same time every night. These aren't coincidences. They're signs that you're already part of what's unfolding. Type, "I am aware," if you're ready to receive this classified information. The moment you do, you'll be connected to a network of others who have noticed the same patterns. The truth about these vehicles is bigger than anyone realizes, and you need to know what's really happening. Those moments when your phone loses signal for no reason, those random power flickers that only affect certain houses, the strange static on your radio at specific times. These aren't technical glitches, they're signs of their surveillance technology at work. Pay very close attention because every detail matters. Have you noticed how street lights flicker when this vehicle passes by? How your smart devices act strange at specific hours? How local pets start barking all at once for no apparent reason? The patterns are becoming clearer every day. Your neighborhood is experiencing things that others aren't. Some people report their security cameras going offline for exactly 17 seconds at a time. Others notice their digital clocks resetting to 0 without explanation. These aren't random malfunctions, they're proof of sophisticated interference. Type, "I see the patterns" if you've noticed any of these signs. The universe needs to know you're ready to understand what's really happening. Your awareness activates the next level of revelation. The energy in your area has changed dramatically in the last 72 hours. Even the air feels different, thicker, charged with an unusual electric quality. This is what happens when their advanced technology interfaces with our normal reality. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to reveal is happening right now. That background hum you sometimes hear, the one that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. That's their energy signature. They don't think anyone can detect it, but sensitive people like you can feel it. The stakes have never been higher than right now. The next 24 hours are crucial for understanding their patterns. If you don't learn to recognize these signs immediately, you might miss the most important revelation of all. The universe has allowed you to notice these patterns for a reason. These vehicles follow a precise schedule that almost nobody has decoded, but the signs are there. They appear every third day, usually between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. when they think everyone's asleep. Some of you have heard their distinctive low humming sound without realizing what it means. But here's why this timing is different. They're increasing their activity. What used to happen once a week is now happening every few days. The patterns are accelerating, and you need to understand why before it's too late. Type, "I track their movements" to signal that you're ready to learn their schedule. This simple action connects you to others who are mapping their activities across different neighborhoods. The surveillance teams are showing unusual urgency in their operations. That's why you've seen more unmarked vehicles lately, more unusual equipment being installed on telephone poles, more maintenance work happening at odd hours. Pay close attention to the next few nights. You will notice more activity than ever before. Each appearance is part of a larger pattern that only makes sense when you understand what they're really doing. These aren't random patrols. They're following a carefully planned sequence. Now get ready for the most detailed revelation about this strange vehicle. Their technology is so advanced that most people's eyes slide right past it without really seeing it. But once you know what to look for, you'll never miss it again. The vehicle appears ordinary at first glance. That's by design. But look closer. Notice how the windows seem darker than normal tinting allows. How the license plate seems to change slightly depending on the angle you view it from. These aren't normal vehicle features. Type, "I see through their disguise" if you're ready to learn what's really behind that ordinary-looking exterior. The moment you do this, your eyes will start recognizing their true technological signatures. Pay attention to this critical detail. The vehicle's size seems to shift slightly when it turns corners. Some witnesses report it looking smaller during the day and larger at night. This isn't your imagination. It's their adaptive camouflage technology at work. The antennas aren't what they seem either. What looks like normal car antennas are actually advanced sensors that can read electronic signatures through walls. That's why your devices act strange before and after they pass by. Most importantly, watch how it moves. Normal vehicles make small bouncing movements on the road. This one seems to glide, almost like it's floating half an inch above the surface. If you listen carefully, you'll notice it's much quieter than other vehicles of its size. Type I recognize their technology for the next level of revelation. The universe wants you to understand exactly what you're dealing with. Right at this moment, they're conducting operations you're not supposed to notice. Those repair crews working late at night. That new equipment being installed on cell towers. It's all connected to their surveillance network. The authorities are following a careful plan. They schedule their activities during typical work hours to avoid suspicion. But if you pay attention, you'll notice these workers never interact with regular utility crews. They operate completely separately. Something big is happening behind the scenes. In the past week alone, they've installed new devices disguised as ordinary electrical boxes on multiple street corners. These aren't normal utility upgrades. They're monitoring stations designed to look like everyday equipment. Type I understand their operations to access deeper insights about their activities. The universe is revealing their patterns to those who are ready to see the truth. Watch for these specific signs of their presence. Unmarked white vans parked for exactly 45 minutes. Workers who arrive precisely at 3:27 a.m. and subtle changes to streetlight patterns after they leave an area. The operation is growing. They're establishing a grid of surveillance points throughout your neighborhood. Every new installation connects to their central network. That's why you're experiencing more electronic interference than ever before. Notice how they always work in teams of 3, how they never answered questions directly, how they seem to communicate without speaking to each other. These aren't regular maintenance workers. They're specially trained operatives. Type I track their movements if you want to know what they're planning next. The pattern of their activities reveals their true intentions. The angels have revealed the exact pattern of their movements. Their vehicles don't just drive randomly. They're creating a precise geometric grid across your neighborhood. Each stop they make is carefully calculated down to the exact second. Pay attention to where they pause the longest. It's always near certain types of buildings, particularly ones with high rooftops or deep basements. These aren't random choices. They're establishing a network of monitoring points that forms an invisible web over your entire area. Type I map their grid to unlock the pattern of their movement. Once you understand their schedule, you'll never be caught off guard again. Some of you will notice they pass by your location exactly every 72 hours. The timing of their appearances isn't random either. They follow the phases of the moon, increasing their activity during the darkest nights. That's when their advanced technology works best, when they think nobody's watching. Most importantly, they always avoid certain areas completely. Have you noticed streets they never drive down, places they seem to circle around but never enter? These blank spots in their pattern tell us something crucial about their operations. Watch for sudden changes in their routine. If they break their pattern, it means something big is about to happen. They only change their schedule when they're preparing for the next phase of their plan. Type, I understand their schedule. If you want to know exactly when they'll appear next. The universe is revealing their timeline to those who are ready to see it. Now prepare yourself for the most shocking revelation about their markings. What looks like ordinary paint on these vehicles actually contains hidden symbols that change color under certain light conditions. That's why they sometimes seem to shimmer when they pass under streetlights. Their technology uses specific geometric patterns, circles within squares, triangles that seem to shift shape, and lines that appear to move when you're not looking directly at them. These aren't decorative choices, they're part of their advanced camouflage system. Type, I decode their symbols to see the truth behind their markings. The universe is helping you recognize what most people miss completely. These symbols are everywhere once you know what to look for. The numbers on their vehicles aren't random either. They follow a specific sequence that repeats every third day. Some of you have noticed how these numbers seem to change between glances. That's their dynamic camouflage at work. Pay attention to the new street signs they're installing. Look closely at the edges. You'll see tiny markings that don't match standard government codes. These marks are actually part of their navigation network, guiding their vehicles through specific routes. Even the color of their vehicles isn't what it seems. What looks black in daylight shows strange reflective properties at night. Some witnesses report seeing subtle color shifts like oil on water when these vehicles pass under certain types of light. Type, I see their true colors to unlock more details about their marking system. The universe wants you to understand exactly what you're observing. The connections go deeper than anyone realizes. Multiple agencies are involved, each one hiding their activities behind different cover stories. Those utility trucks, they're from one department. The maintenance crews, another agency entirely. But they're all part of the same operation. Watch how they coordinate without seeming to communicate. One group leaves just as another arrives. They maintain perfect spacing, perfect timing. This isn't normal government efficiency. It's a carefully orchestrated dance designed to hide their true purpose. Type, I see their network to understand how deep this really goes. The universe is revealing the layers of their organization to those who are ready for the truth. Pay attention to their badges and uniforms. They look official, but something's always slightly off. The logos are almost right, but not quite. The colors are just a shade different from normal government agencies. These small differences are their hidden signatures. Most importantly, notice how regular police and actual utility workers avoid them completely. There's an unspoken agreement to give them space, to never interfere. This separation tells us everything about their level of authority. The real truth about their operation would shock most people, but you're ready to understand why they've chosen your area, why these patterns are increasing, and what it means for the coming days. Now it's time to protect yourself from their surveillance. The universe has revealed specific steps that will help you stay unnoticed while remaining aware. Follow these protective measures exactly as shown. First, maintain your normal routine. Any sudden changes in your behavior will draw their attention. Continue your regular activities, but stay alert to the patterns we've discussed. Your awareness is your first line of defense. Type Activate Protection to begin your energy shield. This isn't just about physical safety. It's about protecting your entire energy field from their monitoring systems. When their vehicles approach, don't stare directly at them. Use your peripheral vision instead. They're trained to notice people who pay too much attention. Act natural, but stay aware. This simple technique helps you gather information while staying under their radar. Keep a regular log of their appearances, but don't make it obvious you're tracking them. Use normal notes in your phone disguised as everyday reminders. Record times and locations casually, mixed in with regular daily notes. Most importantly, don't discuss these observations on social media or in text messages. They monitor these channels constantly. Share information only through secure means with others who understand what's really happening. You're not alone in noticing these strange events. Others in your community are seeing the same patterns, feeling the same energy shifts. Every day, more people are waking up to what's really happening on their streets. The signs of awareness are spreading. Some of your neighbors have started adjusting their schedules, subtly avoiding certain areas at specific times. Others are quietly documenting the changes in their own ways. They might not talk about it openly, but they feel it too. Type I connect with others to join the network of aware observers. Your energy will link with others who are tracking these patterns, creating a web of protection across your community. Pay attention to how people react when the vehicles pass by. Some will quickly look away, others will suddenly check their phones, and a few will stand completely still. These aren't random responses. They're signs of recognition from others who know. Most importantly, notice how local pets and wildlife behave differently now. Dogs bark at empty streets minutes before the vehicles appear. Birds go silent in specific patterns. Even insects seem to sense the energy shifts before each surveillance sweep. The community is quietly organizing in response to these changes. Small groups meet in parks, seemingly by accident, sharing information through casual conversations. They look like normal gatherings, but they're actually part of a larger awareness network. The universe is revealing what's coming next in this operation. The patterns are building towards something bigger than random surveillance. Their activities are following a precise timeline that points to significant changes ahead. Within the next lunar cycle, you will notice increased activity in specific areas. They're preparing for the next phase of their operation. Watch for new equipment installations, more frequent vehicle patrols, and subtle changes to local infrastructure. Type "I see the timeline" to unlock detailed visions of what's approaching. The universe wants you to be prepared for each phase of their plan as it unfolds. The signs of coming changes are already visible. Those new construction projects that never seem to progress, the sudden interest in surveying certain streets, the temporary road closures that keep moving around. These aren't random events, they're preparation for what's next. Pay special attention to the night sky during their operations. Some witnesses report unusual light patterns, brief energy fluctuations, and momentary changes in the air pressure. These effects will increase as their timeline progresses. The next phase of their plan involves expanding their monitoring grid. You will notice their vehicles testing new routes, establishing new patterns, and installing more disguised equipment. But now you'll understand exactly what you're seeing. The time has come to secure yourself against their surveillance. The universe is providing exact instructions that will keep you safe and aware. Follow these steps precisely. Each one strengthens your protection shield. First, create a normal routine that helps you avoid their patrol times. If they appear at 3 a.m., be away from windows at 2:55. If they check certain streets on specific days, take different routes. Small changes in your schedule make you harder to track. Next, place your right hand over your heart. Feel that protective energy building. That's your natural shield activating. Take 3 deep breaths and imagine a clear bubble of light surrounding you. This energy makes their scanning technology less effective. Type "I activate my shield" to begin the final protection phase. You might feel a slight tingling or warmth. That's completely normal. It means your energy field is strengthening against their monitoring systems. Every morning, spend 5 minutes checking your surroundings for new equipment or changes. Look for anything that seems different. New boxes on poles, changed street signs, or unusual maintenance work. Your awareness is your strongest defense. The universe wants you to wear certain colors that interfere with their scanning. Pay attention to any sudden urges to wear blue or silver. These colors naturally disrupt their surveillance frequencies. This is the moment of ultimate revelation. The patterns are converging to show us their complete operation. The energy in your area is reaching critical levels as they prepare for their next phase. Remember those letters and numbers we noticed on their vehicles? Now they're forming a clear sequence. Each patrol follows this code, and understanding it lets you predict their movements perfectly. The last piece of their pattern is becoming clear. That strange humming sound, the way streetlights flicker, the random power surges, they're all connected to one central system that's growing stronger each day. Type "I see the complete pattern" to unlock the final sequence of their operations. The universe needs you to understand exactly what's coming next. Their surveillance grid is almost complete. Every new installation, every patrol route, every timing pattern fits into a larger plan that's been months in the making. But now you can see it all clearly. The full scope of their operation matches your exact location frequency. That's why you've been chosen to receive these warnings. Your awareness has been preparing you for this moment of complete understanding. The moment of ultimate power has arrived. Your awareness is reaching its highest level ever. Stand up right now and raise both hands to the sky. The universe is downloading your final protection codes. Pure protective light is pouring down from above, creating an impenetrable shield around your entire being. Their scanning technology can't penetrate this divine protection. You're now operating on the frequency they can't detect or track. Type, "I seal my protection" for the final energy lock. The universe has never created a stronger shield than this. Even their most advanced technology can't break through this level of awareness and protection. This is the most powerful revelation I've ever channeled. Your understanding will help others wake up to what's really happening. The very fabric of their operation is changing because enough people like you are becoming aware. Receive this final blessing of protection. You are sealed in pure light, invisible to their surveillance, yet fully aware of their movements. Their technology cannot track you. Their patterns cannot trap you. Their systems cannot find you. Your awareness is your shield. Your knowledge is your power. Go forward knowing that you can see what others miss, understand what others ignore, and stay safe in the knowing.